Welcome to the program, friend. This is the third and final part of a series that we've put together from a nearly hour-long interview that I had the privilege of conducting with Judge Roy Moore, the Chief Justice of the Alabama Supreme Court, one of the most brilliant legal minds in the country, and somebody who actually understands the link between God's law and human law. If you've missed any of these episodes, you can watch them online. We are in a crisis. We are in deep trouble. I believe that it is possible that in our lifetimes we could see the breakup of this union. I might be wrong. I hope I'm wrong if we can be restored. But other great empires have gone the way of all flesh. Why shouldn't ours when we are offending the Almighty to such a degree? Watch this interview and hope you are challenged and blessed by what you see. I'll ask you, would you ethically think that it would be appropriate? Do you think it would be within their right to do it?
I think that all officials have a right not to obey an unlawful order.
But do they have the right to secede?
Well, secession is something that hasn't been brought up. Thomas Jefferson brought it up back in 1825. As a matter of fact, New England was one of the first states to talk about secession. So, you know, I don't think it's time to secede now. I think it's time to stand up for rights. You're talking about something that people have no ideas about. They won't even stand up for their rights. When they let a majority of one on the court dictate that marriage can be something different than it's ever been, we're not talking about secession. We're talking about just standing up for your rights. We've been deceived in what the Constitution is. We don't understand the Constitution anymore. And if you don't understand the Constitution, how can you understand anything else?
Do you think that this ruling could unravel the Republic or unravel our liberties?
I think it's going to destroy the nation.
All right. So therefore, if this has the potential to destroy the nation, then why not get out of the nation? Why not say we're done? We're done. We are not going to be a part of this.
Well, that's just that's something.
I mean, that does follow logically.
Yeah, but I don't think you're going to find anybody that wants to secede.
There's people talking about it in Texas.
Well,
there are people talking about it. And I've never even given it a moment's thought until this decision. This did something to the country, to the fiber of the country. We're not a free people anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that we're a free people?
We're supposed to be a free people. And if this carries out the way I think it's going to carry out, it's going to be very doubtful because there's going to be serious questions about our religious liberty. And I am quoting, basically, I think, Justice Thomas that said the very thing.
He really focused on that this
he
is
said
a complete
the majority
assault on
decision
religious liberty.
threatens the religious liberty of our nation has long sought to protect. Alito said it would be used to vilify those who refuse to assent.
And to stamp out all resistance to the new orthodoxy.
Yeah. And Roberts said, today's decision creates serious questions about our religious liberty. That's the Chief Justice of the United States. That's not me. That's his words.
Well, a lot of the journalists, one of the reasons that I wanted to do this interview was to let you be heard, not in 12-second sound bites, or not so that some malicious journalist could pull a quote out of context, but to give for you to have a paced atmosphere in which you could lay out the reasoning of why we're in danger, why this is against the law, why it threatens our liberties, and what that means. So, you're a judge. You have a law degree. I'm a business owner. Tell me what's going to happen to me. Tell me what's going to happen to me when I say, I'm not catering this homosexual wedding. And then
quite frankly, I think if you say that, then you're going to be hit with a fine in federal court. They'll go into federal court on you, and I think that's what's the danger of losing religious liberty. The Interstate Commerce Clause
is the way that they did away with the Jim Crow laws. They said, look, if you're open for business, people can come from another state to sit at your lunch counter. You're open for business for everyone, and you can't discriminate. So that's the line of logic that I see them using. And then if I say, I'm not paying the fine, I'm not doing the wedding, and in the fear of God, like the apostle says, whether it's right in the sight of God to obey you or God, I'm obeying a God.
That's already been brought up in other states, and they've been taken in and threatened with loss of their livelihood. In fact, I've got a case right here that.
But is it within a judge's purview to say, Mr. Terry, I don't think you understand the authority of this court. You're going to either pay this fine or you're going to sit in jail until you reconsider. Could it happen?
It could happen, yeah. And listen
do you
to this.
Do you think it could happen, or do you think it will happen?
I think it will happen, yes.